in the same field. But NGOs are not internally determined, or their level of commitment to do the things is practically reduced to a flat professional level. There are salaries, there are funds, there are programs. So far as they can meet the target set by outside agencies, inside agencies, they are done. So that's the difference between a social movement and the NGO movement. Social movement, especially by left, they are fired by internal commitment, and their goal is not to fulfill some reports. Their full goal is to march ahead in the empowerment of people, in strengthening the people, and in trying to achieve that goal. Well, NGO is a purely monetary-based professional work. Professional in a, I'm not saying in a positive way. It is not the professional revolutionary of Lenin which I am talking about. It is a professional, it is a job for them, so they are not worried whether there is a real impact or not. So NGO has actually, no, this is a, I don't know whether NGOs have weakened the movement, or because the left could not address the movement in this direction, that NGOs can fulfill the gap. So this is a very difficult thing to understand. I must say that there are some world agencies which have definitely promoted NGOs, and wherever NGOs have entered, again we see that the movement is deflated. So these are two somewhere related. But there have been honorable exceptions to this also. Some NGOs tried to do it with some commitment, and they tried to take the help of these for fulfilling their goals. But they are very few and far between. But NGOization as a phenomenon, I think overall it is a negative phenomenon. And I will try to feel that primarily it is the failure of left to adopt itself to the newer times. That vacuum was left where NGO could smoothly walk in. And they have been walking in very strongly in that direction.
And we see the penetration of NGO or the NGOization is the penetration of capitalism itself in this gap because of compartmentalization of the society. Because compartmentalization of society is highly needed by the ruling class.
Yeah.
So if the left organizations are working within the society, this compartmentalization will be to some extent can be avoided, and so that the downtrodden people can be united, and it will always be against the ruling class. In order to block this, that means this unification of the masses, actually can we see the NGOs as the penetration of the capitalism, the capitalist system itself?
See, there is one third point which has entered, and that point relates to the globalization and the culture of the globalized era. Now, what has happened that many of these things, cultural globalization. What I mean by cultural globalization is not just the economic one. Here, the new fashions, new trends attracting the youth, they have come up in a big number. And the new generation, the generation which was fired by idealism in the decade of 1970s, 1980s, partly 1990s, there is a great amount of distraction for them to come to this area. So when we are talking of NGOs, one thing is true, that majority of NGOs are not committed. Majority of capitalist system is very happy with the NGOs. They have no issues with NGOs because they are not a threat to the social structure. But what left faces a challenge is that in this era where there are so much glamour and so many other things which are coming up, how does one try to get cadre, retain their interest, and ensure that this cadre continues to work in this area, in a very committed area? So we can blame the left also to a great extent. But some objective situations are also there. Probably this is also a phase of history where the right-wing global capital has taken one march up. The third point, one more point which we are missing is this, that after 1980s, whatever be the Soviet Union's other things, with the decline of Soviet Union, imperialism got a free hand. All the obstacles to its further dissipation were removed. So it had all the cultural propaganda strength to penetrate further and try to strengthen that culture which fascinates the youth, and to which obviously left could not provide a very suitable answer so far. While of course there are a lot of grounds, the very ground of a abysmal poverty, problems of Adivasis, problems of poor peasants and marginalized everything. They are all very problems. So here the challenge was this precisely. So on one hand, imperialism, national capital or whatever you see, and the sectors of people who want to retard the values back to the feudal values in the modern form. All these challenges are there, and in that probably left could not answer those challenges as successfully.